and the proposal between 11 and 11:30 on the SoundCloud recording of the meeting. So just a small correction. Members content the draft minutes are an accurate record with the said amendments. Agreed. Moving on to closed session then.
In Ireland Assembly, Committee Room 30.
We're in open now.
Okay, members, now in open session. So I'm just going to recap some of the committee's decisions today that we've reached in private session. We have agreed to write to the head of the Civil Service seeking a letter that he sent to the permanent secretaries of departments regarding the NCA investigation. I'm keen to see that very soon because we are aware there are some efforts to stimulate this inquiry, so we will need clarity from the head of Civil Service of exactly what is in that letter to the permanent secretaries in regard to the NCA investigation. We've also agreed to write to NAMA and publish. We will publish the committee's letter and our written questions to NAMA on our website today once that letter is issued. We are also commissioning research on suggested areas of questioning regarding PIMCO. We will also be writing to the Law Society and the committee's letter will be published on its website once it's issued. And we will also be giving further consideration to legal advice in respect of the compelling of both NAMA and Department of Finance and Personnel under our Section 44 powers. To start with then, can I seek agreement that we write to the Department of Finance in Dublin requesting a copy of all relevant information that they may have in relation to our inquiry. Our members content that a letter be sent before the close of this week based on what we have set out in our terms of reference for the inquiry. Agreed. Moving on to the sale of NAMA assets correspondence. We have received a number of pieces of correspondence from items 4.1 to 4.2 is correspondence with former finance ministers Wilson and Hamilton. 4.3 to 4.4 is correspondence with Brian Rudnick. Item 4.5 is correspondence from Mr Jimmy Bryson, and item 4.6 is a press clipping regarding NAMA for members' information. Can I advise members that, as agreed at the last meeting, letters issued to Mr Samuel Wilson and Mr Simon Hamilton, copies of which can be found at pages 35 to 38 of the packs. They were to provide an assurance that in receiving their oral evidence, the committee would keep within its review terms of reference, which were specifically framed to minimise the risk of this inquiry inadvertently prejudicing the current investigation by the NCA and any subsequent prosecution. Can I advise members responses have not been received from either of the former finance ministers, so can I seek agreement that committee staff chase up the two former ministers again to ensure that they respond and hopefully come before the committee as soon as possible. Can I also advise members that, as agreed at the last meeting, a request for factual information was sent to Brian Rudnick in relation to his contact or communications with DFP regarding NAMA property here. The response is at page 41 of your pack. And the letter from Brian Rudnick is factually incorrect, and that we have already met with the NCA and they've raised no concerns about our inquiry and our terms of reference. I repeat, no concerns. All we have asked for in this instance is a copy of all contact and information between Brian Rudnick and Simon Hamilton and Sammy Wilson. Now, I don't see any issue with that information, and the NCA has raised no concerns with us about Sammy Wilson and Simon Hamilton coming to this committee, so I fail to see what these parties have to hide. Can I seek agreement again then that we write to Brown Rudnick asking that they provide all correspondence between themselves and the two former ministers, Simon Hamilton and Sammy
I think you're a wee
Wilson.
bit unfair there, saying that they have something to hide. You know, how do we know this? You're referring to the ministers, ex-ministers. There's something to hide. Is that you?
Well, they shouldn't have something to
No,
hide.
but you said, you know, what have they to hide? I don't think we should be saying that until we find out, get them here and have their information session, then we'll know.
Because I think in terms of
Shouldn't
this, I think in terms of this particular correspondence, that they shouldn't have anything to hide.
No,
Between
I
Brown
think
Rudnick and the
that
two
as well.
ministers. So,
But I don't say we should, you know, we're assuming they have something to hide by saying what you're saying, and I think we should be assuming anything.
yeah. Well, I don't think they have anything to hide in regard to this here. So all I'm saying is that they should get a move on and respond to
That's
the
fair
committee's
enough, but, you know,
response.
we shouldn't assume.
Thanks. Correspondence with Jimmy Bryson. There was an email received from Mr. Jimmy Bryson at page 42 of your packs. Can I advise members that following the committee's open call for evidence, Mr. Bryson has written to confirm his willingness to provide an oral briefing to the committee. Members, any views on the correspondence and how to take us forward? Michaela?
Yeah, Chair, just to reiterate what has been said earlier, on reading Mr Bryson's letter, he is a person of interest, and we did put out the call for anyone who may have information, factual information, to bring that forward to the committee. So, I suppose, in terms of Mr Bryson's letter to us, we're not in the business of shutting doors on anybody with information, but again, I'd reiterate, factual information, and if it's a concern to this committee, should be brought forward. And just to, in terms of our terms of reference, that when we write out to Mr Bryson about giving this information, giving factual information to the committee, that we do send him the terms of reference to cover that as well.
Okay. So we're agreeing to respond to Mr. Bryson to send him the terms of reference and ask that he responds to the committee to provide information within the terms of reference.
I think, Chair, that'd be in line with the way we would treat every
Okay.
witness. I do.
Okay, members content? Okay, any other business? Next meeting then, we have a session and briefing with the Law Society next week on Thursday the 27th of August, and the meeting will start at 10 a.m. Meeting closed.